Well, thank you. And on behalf of the Congressional Executive Commission on China Chair and Co-Chair Dan Sullivan and Chris Smith, and our CEC commissioners, greetings. Over a quarter century ago, Chinese Communist Party General Secretary Jiang Zemin began the full-scale persecution of the Falun Gong movement. Today, under another General Secretary, Xi Jinping, the brutal persecution continues. Many in the United States who thought that engagement with the government of the People's Republic of China would help change China have come to the late realization that China under Xi Jinping is a threat to world peace and also to the people of China who suffer under communist rule. They often say, however, that things were different in the so-called reform era under Jiang Zemin and Hu Jintao. To that, I say no. You are just blind to the true nature of the communist regime. True, the degree and breadth of persecution may have been less. The technological capacity for an Orwellian surveillance state may have been less. And the need to maintain a smiley face for Western investors may have been greater. But the nature of the regime is and was the same. A gangster regime designed to maintain the political power of the Chinese Communist Party and to stifle the growth of any civil society, religious, or ideological alternative to the regime. Indeed, if anyone can say anything good about Xi Jinping, is that he ripped the mask off of the Chinese Communist Party and revealed its true monstrous nature for all to see. And what I point them to when they question me and ask, was the reform era really bad, is the persecution of the Falun Gong, which began more than a quarter of a century ago. For over 25 years, the Falun Gong has been the proverbial canary in the coal mine, warning those who would listen of the toxic danger of the Chinese Communist Party. For the Falun Gong, the persecution was not a difference in degrees, for the oppression has always been constant. And of all the human rights abuses inflicted upon the Falun Gong, there is one that stands out more than any other: forced organ harvesting. We at the CECC, under Chris Smith's leadership, have focused extensively on revealing this crime. In March of last year, the CECC held a hearing entitled "Stopping the Crime of Organ Harvesting: What More Must Be Done?" While the focus of the CCP's organ harvesting brutality has now shifted to Uyghurs and other persecuted, predominantly Muslim groups in the Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region, let us not forget that this crime was first directed at Falun Gong practitioners. Once again, this Congress, the House of Representatives, passed the Stop Forced Organ Harvesting Act of 2025, H.R. 1503, authored by CECC co-chairman Chris Smith and joined by Representative Keating of Massachusetts. This bill is the organ harvesting bill which has the most realistic chance of being passed and sent on to the President's desk for signature, but the Senate must act. The bill would bar entry by perpetrators of forced organ harvesting and subject them to sanctions. It would also require the Secretary of State to report on organ transplant abuses. While the bill encompasses all countries, the focus really is on one country, and that is the People's Republic of China under Xi Jinping and the Chinese Communist Party. As the bill has passed the House by a vote of 406 to 1, it is now up to the Senate Foreign Relations Committee to mark up this bill so that it can advance to the Senate's floor and then on to the President's desk. Rep. Smith will also be leading, again, a letter calling upon the State Department to use its Rewards for Justice program to seek information on who in the Chinese Communist Party is complicit in the heinous practice of organ harvesting so that they can be held accountable. And I also commend Congressman Perry's bipartisan H.R. 1540, the Falun Gong Protection Act. We heard from Congressman Ryan earlier, the bill's co-sponsor. Finally, I note that in his testimony before the House Foreign Affairs Committee, Secretary of State Marco Rubio voiced support for our efforts in the House to end the horror of forced organ harvesting. And just yesterday, the State Department made a very clear statement calling upon the Chinese Communist Party to stop persecuting the Falun Gong. Thus, I'm optimistic that Congress, working with this administration, can help end this crime against humanity. Thank you all for your commitment to human rights and religious freedom for all. Thank you.